What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
Welcome to Star Wars Jedi Chat for another week of our live show where we're talking yet again about what's going on in the world of Star Wars. And do we have a nice little conversation for you tonight? I am joined by Austin Fuller and Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. What's up, guys?
Hello, hello.
Hello there.
Ron is out of the country. He's on a little vacation, and Derek has some obligations with Halloween. So
Yes.
You got us tonight.
Yeah.
So thanks, everyone. We already got 6 people in here. Thanks for joining. We got Max Rebo Experience in here. He's got some things he wants to say. So I want to get back to him in a second. We got my mom and dad are in there. Hello, mom and dad. We've got Darth Plagueis Lives. Thanks for joining us. Anybody else who's here, give us a little chat. Let us know you're here. Love a little participation on our end. So,
yeah.
How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Can't complain. Love me some Ben Solo news.
Yeah. Austin?
Yeah. I live for it. anything to keep the sequel conversation alive. I'm all for it.
There we go. And I should point out, when I'm saying hi to you guys in the chat, we are only, for whatever reason, getting your @ handles. So if I butcher them, I'm sorry. Arwina Blue Cat, hey, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Nathan Traxel, nice to see you. Papa Boz 66, I think we're doing good. So
yeah, I don't really know what's up with YouTube lately, but the username thing is weird.
Yeah, I know who that is though. That is Jacob. So if we have any deep lore and comic questions, we go to this guy in the chat. So, all right, fellas, we are here to talk about someone in particular, but we were just talking off the air about another piece of news that's very interesting that Mike was informing Austin and I about. Take it away, Mike.
Oh, you want to start there? All right, let's start.
I do actually. Yeah.
Okay. So as I know, Austin's a huge Last Jedi fan, so I'm sure like his version of talking about Ben Solo is my version of talking about Ahsoka season 2. Like that's my end game. Ahsoka season 2, I'm unbelievably excited for. In this sort of, I guess, leak, so take it with a giant grain of salt. It's not really confirmed by much, but it is really, really cool sounding, and I guess confirmed by a drawing that Dave Filoni posted of Ahsoka and Sabine walking through a snowstorm like a really long time ago for season 2. But the leak goes as this: Ahsoka season 2. We are being told that a sequence not unlike the one from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. So if you don't know, if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, there's a scene where Gandalf and the others are walking on this snowy mountain to try and get across, and Saruman, one of the villains of the movie, is very far away. And he is using his wizardy powers to stop them by making a sort of I guess, ice fall in their path being stopped. So they have to turn around and go back and go a different way. So similar to that sequence, Sabine and Ahsoka have to go on foot across this snowy mountain because their ship is forced to land due to a snowstorm. And Baylan Skoll, much like Saruman, is trying to stop them from afar. They even go on to explain that it's much like the Attack of the Clones sequence where Dooku is throwing objects at Master Yoda in the final battle at the end of that movie too, sort of as a distraction to stop them from going that way. So it sounds to me, and maybe you guys get a little bit different of this, it sounds to me like they're hot on Baylan Skoll's tail, which is a little interesting because he seemed like he was way ahead of them at the end of season 1. Mm-hmm. And they're both trying to race to get to whatever that glimmer of light is on the mountain. We assume Abeloth or whatever that end goal is, but this sounds awesome. Star Wars in the past has paralleled these different universes from Dune to literally anything, and doing a little bit of a Lord of the Rings twist there with the snowy mountain and a villain from a distance distracting them sounds pretty cool.
Agreed. That sounds pretty badass. I'll be the first one to cuss 4 minutes and 50 seconds in.
Ass doesn't count, does it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the question that raises for me is why he's trying to stop them. Maybe just because he wants to reach it first, And also, like, does Balin have it like that where he can hurl pieces of a
I don't
mountain at
know.
people? And so is this after Balin gets there? Or, you know, like I know Balin's really powerful and I'm really excited to see him, but there's a difference between Dooku and Yoda going at it and, you know, the character that we know right now of Balin Skull. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
just him as a
Okay.
character just interests me like just a lot. Like, what is his? I'm really interested. I really want to know more about him. Like you said, like does he have the stuff to do
yeah.
that?
I mean, one of the first scenes we get of Balin is a hallway scene where he's just like all like just destroying people.
Yeah.
They try to clearly make that he's very, very powerful. He beats Ahsoka. Like that's not an easy task. He beats Ahsoka Tano in a lightsaber fight. Granted, she was distracted by Sabine. She thought was dead, but still, he is destroying her for the majority of that fight. So he's very, very powerful, and the mystery, I guess, behind his character makes it even more intriguing to me. He quickly became a fan favorite character, and now they had to recast him because of Ray Stevenson passing away. But Rory McCann, I mean, if you've seen Game of Thrones, he's so good as the Hound. So to get to see him take on this role is going to be pretty interesting, and to see how powerful they really make Balin Skull. It could be after he makes it to whatever this end goal is, because he claims that it's going to stop this never-ending battle of light versus dark, this never-ending cycle of good versus evil, which sounds pretty powerful to me. So maybe he has that already, but I don't know.
Yeah. It also makes you wonder where Shin Hati is at in all this as well.
Yeah.
I can see it making sense that they catch up to him like that because he's also on foot, and presumably, as that leak suggests, they start off on a ship so they could cover a lot of ground and get close. You know,
that is true. I didn't think of that. Yeah, Balin's on foot. Yeah,
he's a tall guy, so he can get around. But
Big long strides.
Yeah,
it might take him a while though to get down from that father statue that he climbed right off to the edge of.
Yeah. I'll also throw out there, like you said, Mike. Not only does he beat Ahsoka, but the second time they meet, we've talked about this before. He tells her like, "You know, you can't beat me," and she's like, "Yeah, but I don't have to." Like she kind of, admits like, "I'm not here to beat you," kind of, Obi-Wan-esque sort of thing. So I don't know if we've really scratched the surface on Balin Skull. We could probably go for 2 hours talking about what we like and are looking forward to with Balin Skull. But that's very interesting. What do you guys think the chances that leak is real? Noting that it comes from some artwork from a while ago.
Honestly, it makes me think that whatever is this. We assume so much that it's Abeloth, but whatever this end goal is, I assume a prison of Abeloths, it might be at the top of a mountain, and the top of a mountain tends to be snow. So they must be stopped, can't make it to the top yet, and then they try to make their way to the top, and as they are, Balin Skull is trying to stop them. So it makes me think, like, when Kanan and Ezra in Rebels pull the Lothal temple out of the ground, and then that temple is how Ezra enters the world between worlds for the first time. Like, it makes me think that it'll be some like mountaintop thing. It's all frozen, and Sabine and Ahsoka have to work together, or maybe even Balin can't do it himself, so he needs them or something. I don't know. And they all work together or something to open this. Maybe temple, maybe just a prison, or whatever it may be. Maybe they accidentally open it. Maybe they don't know what they're opening. I just think that it's really cool because it's not something we've ever seen in Star Wars. Something like frozen like that. I kind of take that back. The Ilum, where they go to find the Kyber crystals. You remember the Youngling episode in the Clone Wars where they have to go find their Kyber crystals and it's slowly freezing over. Something like that. Ahsoka was there for that, so maybe something like that would be cool.
Ilum, which famously becomes Starkiller Base.
Also true. Another connection to the sequels.
Crazy. We got Vader's nose hairs here. What's up? Good to see you. I'm curious. I like this. What kind of upgrade are we talking? Ahsoka will get an upgrade in season 2. Is that like Are you talking the show or Ahsoka herself?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ahsoka, after she goes through the World Between Worlds, is very different. She's well, she agrees to take on Sabine, but even still, like, she's shedded that past of the dark side, and Anakin and all of that is gone. So that's going to make her probably a little bit more powerful as we go to the future here. But I just think, like, Ahsoka season 1 is one of my favorite Star Wars projects of all time. It's up there with one of the best. And I think season 2 can be a huge step even better than that, just based off of what we know, or based off of what we're hearing, or based off of those concept arts that we got from Star Wars Celebration. Like, just everything we've heard about this show so far has gotten me more and more excited. And the opportunity of a war in our Star Wars in one galaxy, and maybe Abeloth in the Mortis Gods in another. Like, that's insane. So I think an upgrade, so to speak, is more so just the content in general. It's bigger. It's bigger.
I think Holly also agrees with your take on how Ahsoka is gonna, how it's gonna be going down for her. Austin, you have not been around when we've talked deep dived Ahsoka season 2, so I'm curious on your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm due for an Ahsoka season 1 rewatch at this point. Little rusty, but I think that, and we talked about it last week, talked about a bunch. I like when Star Wars gets weird, right?
Yeah,
they did it
Love
in season 1. They definitely like got a little weird, and I'm interested to see if they double down on the weirdness, right? Like they could, like you were saying, like they could get weird. They could do a lot of weird stuff, but I have reservations because I wonder if they'll have the guts to do it, because you could see them, happens all the time, where we build up what we think will happen based on stuff, and then it kind of goes there, but it doesn't fully commit. And I hope that they just fully commit to it, because it sure seems like they're going to, with all the stuff we're hearing and all the tidbits and the hints that you've seen. It's like, they're into it, but I want to see it. I want them to execute it and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Jay brings up a great point in the chat. It's very Lord of the Rings, not just the leak we just talked about, but the story in general that we have. If you think about the Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam are doing their own thing for the majority of the 3 movies. They're like just making their way through. Yes, they meet Gollum. They have their issues of their own, but the battles, all the different battles between the orcs and well, I guess the orcs and everybody, but all of our other heroes, those are sort of in a different place, in a different with different characters. So while you're having Thrawn versus the New Republic over here, you're having Aragon and the others in Legolas versus the orcs over here, and then you're having Sam and Frodo with the ring, and you're having Ahsoka and Sabine over here. Like, it's very Lord of the Rings. I never thought of it that way.
Good job, Jacob.
Yeah,
I never thought of it that way either.
Yeah.
I also am curious right here. Do we think Ezra and Ahsoka both survive season 2?
Yeah. Yes. I would say Ahsoka is less likely than Ezra. I think Ezra's going to stick around for a while, seeing that people love Iman Esfandi so much as the character, and he's still pretty young and a Jedi. So, like, he could stick around Luke's Jedi Temple. He can train Jason Syndulla. Like, there's a lot you could do with that character. Ahsoka, I hope she survives, but I don't think she'll be coming back to the main galaxy. I think her purpose is over there in Peridia.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as I agree 100%, and I feel like Ahsoka's arc is just waiting for like a heroic sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's kind of like it's got that vibe to it, like everything that she's been through, and it's just, you could see whether it's like you said, like death, or like she has to stay behind to do something, right? Just some sort of heroic sacrifice to like make sure everyone else can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I think whatever she does will end up with Sabine getting to go back home, and she's like, "I'll stay behind so you can get back home," type thing. I don't know how. I mean, maybe some Purgle pick her up or something, but
yeah. I agree with you too, with the caveat that I think someone in the protagonist category's out. We're going to lose somebody. I don't think it's going to be either of them this season. But I think somebody that we probably really like will go, and I don't know who that'll be. Depends how they tee it up. It also really depends on, how Mando and Grogu goes, depending on these, characters. And but I think we're due for a protagonist to go down. We didn't really, did we lose a protagonist in season 1?
Ahsoka dies, not really.
Yeah.
But
the other side only lost Marak.
Morgan Elsbeth. That was
Morgan
big,
Elsbeth, that's right.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
So I think the protagonists are due for a couple losses, but I presume that's going to be on the Thrawn and our Star Wars Galaxy side of things, and not necessarily in our Ahsoka, Ezra. Well, Ezra's there, but I don't think we're going to lose either of them. But I think by the end of the show in its entirety, we lose Ahsoka. That's assuming this goes 3 or 4 seasons, but
I think the big thing there too, though, is Filoni want to get rid of her?
Yeah.
It's kind of like just as a it's his character. Like, I mean, he can. Yeah. You keep her around. You can. That's the thing about Star Wars. He could keep her around and find something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can plug her into something, and I could see from just a Star Wars fan, like a marketing, making new shows, like
it's worked this far.
It's worked this far. Like, you can just kind of plug her into another show later on and be like, yeah, we're doing this show, and Ahsoka's going to be in it, just so you know. Like,
she's either, by the time we hit Rise of Skywalker, she's either ascended, as Holly said in the chat, or she's doing something interesting that we haven't seen before, which, she's there in spirit and also still alive. Like, sounds a little World Between Worldsy, or Mortisy. But as Austin said, I think this is the show where we can get weird and start doing some interesting things with it. And her being the vehicle for it, I think, is appropriate. So
all I know is if Ahsoka dies in season 2, it'll be quite a big surprise to pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
But my 2 most likelies to die in Ahsoka season 2, and I've kind of talked about this before, but not really one of them. One is Hera Syndulla. She's had such an arc through Rebels. She's sort of the mom of the group that keeps them all together. It would hit hard for Ezra and Zeb and Sabine, but also Jacen Syndulla, who's named after Jacen Solo, who goes dark side in Legends. And the other one would be Zeb. It's hard to bring a character like that to life in live action, so it would be easy to kill him off and not have to deal with that. But he's also going to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, get some screen time there, and then be in Ahsoka and get some screen time there. So if you're going to try and do not to call Zeb not that important, but not that important of a character, Zeb is your way. And then if you want a really important character, you kill Hera Syndulla, which would be devastating.
That makes a lot of. I would agree with that 100%. And again, back to the Ahsoka thing. I think, regardless of what happens, I think her ending will be open-ended. Nothing will be definitive. It's not gonna we're not gonna see a dead Ahsoka. It's either gonna be something happen where it's like she could be dead, but she's probably not. And then that's how. So it leaves it open to. You could not do anything with her, and that would be your explanation, is that, she perished during that, or she's gone off to a better place, or you have that wiggle room to slide her back into something in the future.
I'm going to shout out Vader's nose hairs for a second. I don't know if we can swing all of those actors for a talk show, but we could certainly do this after Ahsoka season 2. Because I think this is going to provide us with a lot of interesting lore consequences in a good way. I think whatever happens with, you brought to us, Mike, Baylan Skoll and Anakin Skywalker having stunts together, whatever that's about, that's going to have lore implications. I mean, this whole Peridia thing is brand new territory. I think it's every week is going to be something, but especially when it's all done and we have all the context, we'll definitely be doing big episodes like that. So
I mean, everything we get from season 1 about Peridia is so groundbreaking, and it's only for a couple episodes. From all these dead Night Sisters or whatever they are, from that to having the origins of the Night Sisters be from this place, and having the Purgle come here to die, and then having it Balin Skoll. Everything Balin Skoll says once he gets there is like gold.
Yeah.
Talking about what he's looking for, and then when him and Shin are tracking down Sabine after she took out all the Marauders or the whatever they were that are there, he's saying like, this used to be this great place and now it's all desolate and wasteland and whatever. And he's like, you don't feel that, you don't hear it calling to you, like all this crazy stuff. So everything we got from Peridia in season 1 was great. So if we get a whole season of it in season 2, it'll be even better.
Yeah. Max Rebo asks, do we think season 2 will take place after Mandalorian and Grogu or before?
I think after. I think everything in the Mandoverse so far has been in order. Mando season 1, season 2 comes after that, then Book of Boba Fett comes after that, then the Mandalorian season 3 comes after that, then Ahsoka, then Skeleton Crew. It's been in order all the way. I don't think they're going to stop now and try and go a little back and forth type action. It'll be Mando first and then Ahsoka. So it means that the events, at least a little bit of Mando and Grogu, will affect Ahsoka season 2 because we know Zeb's going to be in both.
Mm-hmm. I actually wonder just how much. I'm assuming there's going to be like tie-ins that we won't know when we're watching Mando and Grogu that work for Ahsoka in a similar way that previously they've had tie-ins with like, you know, Bad Batch has come out or a Tales thing has come out and a little thing from there enters the live action, or how Mandalorian season 1, there were a couple of themes that went into Rise of Skywalker, which came in right after. So I think from Mando and Grogu, it'll kind of influence, you know, what we're going to talk about leading into Ahsoka season 2, because it's going to set a little bit of a stage, because they're all walking into the same situation. Presumably, if it's in order, Thrawn's back and Mando and Grogu's happening. So, you know, if it keeps flying that way, then I can't see it not being connected in some manner.
Well, you actually bring up a great point of how certain projects are connected to each other as they come out one after the next. I think that the last 5-6 years that we've spent on Disney Plus has all been sort of leading to what's to come. Not just the Thrawn and the Heir to the Empire stuff, but also the post-sequel stuff and the Ben Solo we'll talk about today. But what if... All right, so this has a little bit of a backstory to it. Before I sound crazy, let me explain my crazy.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Yeah. Okay, so when Ezra goes into the world between worlds in Rebels, he not only hears Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda, and maybe more. I forget who else. But he also hears Kylo Ren and Rey. When Ahsoka goes into the world between worlds, she doesn't hear any of that. She just sees Anakin. But is it possible that we hear something of Ben Solo in Ahsoka season 2? And I'm not talking like young Ben Solo. He's probably 9 years old at this time. I'm talking like world between worlds, some sort of future premonition type thing. Like when Ezra goes into the world between worlds in Rebels, he hears Kylo and Rey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's years and years before they even exist. So could Dave Filoni, in all his genius, be teeing up some way, somehow, this Ben Solo stuff? Because I think he did in season 1, and I think he can continue to in season 2. The World Between Worlds is the perfect way to bring Ben Solo back to life, or at least explain where his body goes at the end of Rise. And that was done in season 1. And of course, we got to bring up the Acolyte, and we'll talk about how that connects in a second. But season 2 of Ahsoka could do something similar. And maybe it has to do with whatever this power is that Balin's looking for or something. But thoughts?
You go, Nick.
No, you go ahead.
Well, yeah, no, I think that is... I like that. I think that's the other thing I just love about the World Between Worlds is that you can do anything, right? Like you could, because when you're talking about like Ezra and who he heard, I was just Googling it because I wanted to see the list of people like who Rey hears at the end of Rise of Skywalker, right? Like, and they are saying things to her, right? Like they're talking to her specifically. So then it has me thinking, like, is what they're looking for. Are we gonna see Ahsoka say what she says to Rey? Like, are they gonna? Is Ahsoka gonna be in the? Is that gonna be the whole thing they're searching for? Is to
that would be pretty crazy.
Get into the world between worlds so they can help Rey defeat Palpatine in the future.
Yeah.
Right. And you can see all of the Jedi, like we hear their lines again, like what they're saying. Like, I don't know. Yeah. That's probably just like, again, you can do some crazy stuff there.
and before people in the chat start calling Austin and myself crazy, and before Nick even starts to talk, you're not very far off. Not only does Ezra hear those voices, not only does Rey hear those voices in The Rise of Skywalker, but in Clone Wars, when Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Anakin go to Mortis, they see their future. Like, Anakin specifically hears Darth Vader breathing, sees it behind him. He forgets all this because he was under the whatever of the sun, but he hears it. He sees his future. Like, he knows his future. So this isn't something that's like that crazy. Imagine Ahsoka's like knocked out or something, and she starts hearing like people going, "Rise, Rey," and she's like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And then she's like, "Who is this girl right in front of me?" And she's looking from afar somehow at this whole events of Exegol from a different perspective, and she's like, "Oh, maybe it's my turn to say something." But like, that's something that has happened before in Star Wars and could very well happen again. The time travel, and it's not time travel, but you know what I mean. The seeing into the future is not something that's never happened before.
Mm-hmm.
I would also add that when Ezra hears all those voices and then ends up talking to Yoda in the world between worlds, Yoda has at some point figured out how to pop in and do a little Zoom call in the world between worlds, right? Isn't that what? Is he talking to him? Isn't he talking to him like live in the world between worlds?
Is that in the world between worlds sequence, or is that when he goes to the Jedi Temple to make his lightsaber? Or no, him and Kanan go into the Jedi Temple and they get split up or whatever.
That's right. My bad.
No. You're still right though. Because those two are on complete opposite sides of the galaxy, and they have a conversation together.
Yeah. So that's right. So there's more to be. We don't get anything about how that happens, right? So there's more, and Yoda's alive, flesh and blood. So, obviously, maybe go ahead.
I was gonna say, just not to get like existential, but like, is that actual alive Yoda talking to him, or is that the dead Yoda that is like in the world between worlds? Talking to him, you know what I mean? Like, same with like Anakin. No, like, right. That's not obviously like that's a different Anakin. Like, that's not.
And to your point, Ahsoka is like the only show right now where we could pull off this kind of stuff. Like, where that question, that existential question, would not be a weird thing for them to address.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. No. And so. I don't think you're crazy, Mike, earlier when you said you were going to be crazy. Neither does Holly. But
we're not crazy. We're just wrong sometimes.
I'm going to this is like stream of consciousness, because Austin brought up take of the night with Ahsoka, like leading her to whatever happens during Exegol.
Yeah.
What a way to like bring in some cameos.
Dude,
whenever whether it's this season or whenever, and what a way to capitalize on what we've been talking about with Force Ghosts, and like kind of seeming like we're going to get some kind of deeper, I wouldn't call it lore, or just like deeper experiences with what Force Ghosts are and how it works, what the rules are, because we've gotten pretty deep with Anakin. Like, I think, Mike, you, when I asked you a couple weeks ago, you're of the belief she's actually sparring with Anakin's Force Ghosts, right? Like, and that's like him going with her.
Yep.
I have seen that there are many fans who think that's just like the same experience that Ben Solo has with Han and Rise. You know, like it's up to so much, technically up to so much interpretation, because we don't know how these things work. We're never going to know how the world between worlds works. And we're barely going to know about Force Ghosts, but I don't know, what an opportunity, because she's going to have to dabble in some of that somehow. She already has. And I don't know.
Well,
and
that's,
here we are
that's the
again.
kind of thing that makes me go back to like the if they have the guts to do it, right? And I don't say it in a negative way, but like they're almost better off not answering a whole lot about it.
Mhm.
Right? Just because like I say this, I don't think they're ever going to reboot Star Wars, right? They're not going to go like, let's reboot to the beginning. It's going to keep going. So like, if you think about that, like you gotta, as soon as you start putting rules in about, and kind of defining what a Force Ghost can and can't do, like the more you just kind of let stuff happen, and then you're like, oh, that's a new rule. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like I could see them going that way,
It's a good point.
Yeah, but we're definitely going to see a lot more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the midichlorians, that's true to an extent, but the midichlorians do give you an explanation of the power levels. It's not really the Force itself, because everybody can still use the Force. It's how powerful you can be with the Force, so to speak. And the ability to transfer midichlorians is still what today is what allows Palpatine to come back, because he can create a Force-sensitive clone.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think more than anything, it's a plot device to let you know like how big of a deal it is that they need to bring Anakin to Coruscant in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Like they need something. They need something for the audience more than Liam Neeson saying, "I want this boy."
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah. Hey, what's up, that guy B? Good to see you. Anyone else who's joined the chat, thanks for coming on. Let us know what you think about Ahsoka Season 2 before we get to our main topic today. But then, so I wanted to ask you guys, in Ahsoka Season 2, do you think we're going to be getting anything that sets up the next thing? So by next thing, I'm not just talking Ahsoka Season 3. I'm talking whatever happens in the next installment of Mandalorian and Grogu or whatever. Will we get, because we have what looks to me like two paths. We have the get weird path, because Ahsoka is the vehicle for it. We're going full on, us Star Wars freaks are going to want to follow that path. But then you also have the path of, half of that show is going to exist in what eventually, if you do more Mandalorian stuff, is going to have to exist in. So how much do we set up Ahsoka Season 3, and how much do we set up the Mandoverse, essentially, or the Ahsoka-verse?
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be an Ahsoka Season 3. I think this is it. And Ahsoka's story, like we just sort of talked about, will come to an end. But I think it will set up the second installment of the Mando trilogy, because as the leaks have said before, Lucasfilm wants the Mandalorian and Grogu to be the beginning of a new trilogy, a Mando trilogy, to do the Heir to the Empire stuff with Thrawn and all that. And I think it will. It's just Disney who's not on board with it yet, because it hasn't been a success in the box office, and I think it will. So I think it'll just set up sort of what's next for Thrawn and in the immediate galaxy, and it will put on pause kind of whatever's happening in Peridia, because they'll put like a Band-Aid over it, and that Band-Aid will probably be Ahsoka. And then maybe eventually, later on in the timeline, post-sequels, probably that threat will reemerge, but they're setting that up for later down the line, and they're setting up the Thrawn stuff for right now. That's what I think.
Yeah. I was just, I agree 100%. I could see it. Like I think you even alluded to it earlier, Nick, like there might be things that we see that happen in Ahsoka Season 2 that later on we're like, oh, there you go. Like that kind of connected, but I can see it. I think it's going to be tied up in a relatively nice bow. I think things will. I think there's a difference between something like being a cliffhanger and something being open-ended, right? I think open-ended can still mean that it's like you came to a conclusion. It's just kind of open ended at this point. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot with this season. Is just like it's over. It could be done. It doesn't need to lead it much to anything else. I think it's going to be a little. So some of those characters will obviously lead into the other stuff, but I think a lot of that stuff, like Mike said, it's going to be kind of put on hold.
Mm-hmm. Vader's nose hair is good to see you. Sorry you got to go. May the force be with you. Yeah. So how do we feel about Ahsoka season? You think we covered that news pretty well? I think that sequence sounds pretty cool. Lord of the Rings and Star Wars sound like a good mix.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
and if what I said about Rise of Skywalker doesn't happen in season 2, I will be mad and I will be calling it a failure. I've decided
that's actually that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen my way, I don't like it.
Yeah,
it is the perfect segue though, with that Rise of Skywalker stuff to the Ben Solo stuff, because yes, Ahsoka is one of those voices that does call out to Rey, and that happens just mere moments before, or minutes before maybe, Kylo Ren's body disappears. So as we talk about Ben Solo possibly returning and that happening through the world between worlds or whatever, because his body does disappear, and that's a big thing. Like Ahsoka's body disappears in Ahsoka when she goes into the world between worlds. So if he does go into the world between worlds, are all those people that were just talking to Rey standing there waiting? Is it just Kanan Jarrus, Qui-Gon Jinn, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, Mace Windu? Is it just all of them just standing there waiting? Or is it just like Luke and they're all just sort of like in the background behind him? Like, they could really do something cool. And it's something that Dave and John have done before. It's fans want this, we're going to give it to them. So like, for example, well, I guess fans want live action Ahsoka and all that other stuff. But the big thing was Luke Skywalker. Whether you like Luke in The Last Jedi or not, he doesn't really have that much action sequences because he's old. So you get young Luke in Mando and Book of Boba Fett being all badass with the lightsaber and all that stuff that we've wanted to see for the last 40 years. Well, not me because I wasn't alive, but you know what I mean. So they give the fans what they want. Fans have made these crazy edits, putting Force ghosts in the background of that scene with Rey versus Palpatine, and them all putting their hand up using the Force or whatever when they say their lines. And they're like, oh, this is how it should have been. This is how it should have been. If you're going to do a Hunt for Ben Solo movie, and he's going into the world between worlds where all those Jedi just were talking to Rey, you could give the fans what they wanted, and just doesn't even have to be like bring all those characters back, but like even just the silhouette of all of them, and then Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker is like right there. Like, that'd be pretty cool.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we're going to be talking a little bit about this guy. Yeah, all of that to say, anyone who has not been paying attention to Star Wars stuff or didn't watch us last week, shame on you. But essentially, we're going to talk more about this canceled or, not greenlit project that we're all very excited about called The Hunt for Ben Solo. And so that leads me to Holly's question here. Has anyone seen Ben Solo?
Hunting for him.
Yeah. There are missing posters in major cities across the United States with Ben Solo's picture on it. There are petitions going around. There's a sign in Times Square about it. For those who don't know, basically Adam Driver, his writing partner, is it Steve Soderbergh?
Yep.
Developed and wrote a script and got on board with all of Lucasfilm. Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, everybody had a project called The Hunt for Ben Solo in the works, and it was shot down by the very top brass of the Disney Corporation. So it's led fans to be very adamant about its existence, rightfully so, in my opinion. So we're about a week removed from it, right? Maybe a little more.
Yep.
How are we feeling a week later?
Well, it just keeps on ramping up, which has got me excited. The fans have really taken this and run with it. It's great to see. I've been talking about how the fandom is getting a lot more united as of late. It's not all of us. I mean, there's still this huge divide in the Star Wars fandom as per usual, but even people who are like, I don't like the sequels, as actually Austin said this last week. I don't like the sequels, but I love Ben Solo, or I love the character of Kylo Ren. Even people who don't like the sequels want to see more of this character, want to see this hunt for Ben Solo get made. And the fact that it got through everybody, it was in development for 2 years. The script was fully written. So yeah, since last we met, there's been a little bit more of an update to it. Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, Carrie Beck loved the idea. They spent $3 million, the most they've ever spent on a script in Lucasfilm history. Scott Z. Burns wrote the entire script over the course of 2 years. It was ready to shoot, and they were going to pitch it to Disney with a starting film date to start shooting. And that's when it got turned down. So for over 2 years, it was in development, and everybody was behind it. Everybody loved it, except for two guys, Alan Bergman and Bob Iger. And that information alone, first of all, has got people really excited, but it's enough to run off of. There's a full script out there that Adam Driver thought was the coolest effing script he's ever read in his life. Soderbergh, an Oscar-winning director, is on board. Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni loved it. So it's just enough for fans to latch onto and do crazy stuff like the plane or the billboard on Times Square, or putting up missing Ben Solo dog posters like all across, like just on telephone poles all across America. Like you go in just random cities and there's just missing Ben Solo signs. It's really, really crazy. I've seen that they're doing like fan meetups in New York and California now for this, and they're cosplaying as Ben Solo. Like it's gotten pretty wild. But it just proves, one, that Star Wars fans are awesome, and two, that this could definitely still happen, and Star Wars fans are going to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm just like, I think I was just looking back. I was like, what did I text Nick? I texted Nick like late last week, and I was like, this Ben Solo stuff's got me crashing out. Like every time they come out with something new, I'm just like, it's so frustrating. And I think the part that I really want to be optimistic that, one, it's going to happen, and two, like we talked about last week, that it means Ben Solo's coming back in some capacity. But the part that got me nervous, and it's more about how long is it going to take for it to happen, is that they talked about a couple, like the reasons why they said no was, one, they complained about why is he alive, and then I don't know the details, but like the one article was talking about there was some basically it was a political decision for what Bob Iger and like the other guy, like there was not, it's not that they really cared about Star Wars. There was like other behind the scenes reasons why they shut it down. And that's got me a little more worried, right? Because like, is Bob Iger the kind of guy that would ever sign off on Ben Solo showing up now that he knows he's the guy that's like, now that everyone knows he's the guy that shut it down? Is he not want to prove he was wrong? He doesn't want to be proven wrong and be like, yeah, you're right, let's bring him back. Like,
he's also on the way out though, which kind of
but not until the end of 2026, right? True. So I mean, like that's a lot of time for him to hold his cards and say nope.
Hey, but they already got that thing basically made, so well,
that's the thing. It feels like an easy win for him. Like if he was just like, oh, my bad, let's do this, fans clearly want it, then people would be like, huh, Disney did it.
Yeah, they were also across the board, not just with Star Wars. I don't know to what extent, but they were like really cutting back across the board for the last few years. I'm sure like majority of that's probably Marvel, if we're being honest, but I agree with you, Austin, and you know my thoughts. I think it's insane. It seems like a little bit of like a ego contest of some sort. I think it's wild that the person that would be uniting many fans is Kathleen Kennedy. Like I've been on here defending her. Mike knows that. Austin knows that. But like this is another example of like they think she's the one doing stuff like that. It's not. Like
No.
her and Dave Filoni being like, let's freaking do this is really concerning to like get all of that, spend all the money and then not do it. You know,
it's concerning, but it's also kind of interesting because they didn't tell Disney about it until they were like, they can't say no to this.
yeah,
We already got it done.
Like how that's why I think it's concerning is to get that far and to have it still shot down. Like, what does that do what does that do to Lucasfilm? Like, oh my God, we just spent a record amount of money on this script. Like this kind of messes up our next thing in the theater.
Oh,
and
it also just, I don't know how like the movie industry works, you know, having worked on that side of it, but like it's also, it seems wild to spend the money for the script without like knowing that the guy above you is going to sign off on it. Like it just seems like, how do you not at least like be like, hey dude, by the way, we're going to do this movie with Ben Solo, like get you details later, but just a heads up.
Based on having watched one episode of The Studio with Seth Rogen, so I'm now the expert on how Hollywood works. I think it's pretty common for them to like buy scripts so that they can like have it and eventually make something, or you know, basically have the rights for it, and then I think you can sell them.
But they can't.
They can't.
Right. They can't because we're dealing with IP, right? But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's not what I had on my prediction card for the year of what Star Wars fans would be excited about. I'm really happy it is. Like, for example, my dad loves Ben Solo, Kylo Ren.
Nice.
Like, I'm not sure if he's keyed in on, you know, all of the Star Wars news other than what we talk about, but like, I'm pretty sure he's Dad, if you're still in the chat, share your thoughts, because like this is a character that, like Austin said, people liked regardless. And the people who didn't like him disliked him for the reasons that made his character interesting. They say, oh, he's just a wannabe Vader. Yep. Thank you. That was the point. That is the entire point of what makes him interesting. He's not a good villain. And that was like the gripe with him. And I think it's a big deal. It's not like Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy are like, we really need a Ben Solo movie. We got to convince Adam Driver that this is a good idea. It's that he is so invested in the character that he found a partner, wrote a script, got it bought, full on, full send, and then probably broke a pretty sizable NDA to talk about it last week. And then and then follow-up called all the journalists that were talking about it to explain Ben Solo to them. You know, like when you have someone like that so interested in it, that's the other thing that confused me about like the Bob Iger move. Like, you have one of the A-list actors like practically begging to make a movie with you. Like that would be enough to me to like make it work, but I don't know. I'm not Bob Iger, so
yeah. I mean, it's so frustrating because now it looks like so many more people are like, yeah, I like the sequels. Like it's coming around already. It's only been, I don't know, 6 years since Rise, and you're seeing sort of a prequel treatment where things have come around a little bit more, and it comes with more content. You make a Hunt for Ben Solo movie, you make a Rey movie, and they're both really good. You make something sequels like a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, and it's really good. It's only going to elevate the sequels themselves. So I think from like just to make a Ben Solo movie, it couldn't hurt, especially when you have all these people on board, when you have all this stuff ready to go. And to me, the most intriguing involvement is Dave Filoni, because of what he's done with Ahsoka, because of what he's done with all these other things to possibly set up his return with the World Between Worlds and all that. Like, he is so heavily involved in this post-sequel stuff just as much as he is with this Mandoverse stuff, which has got me like, what is he cooking up over there? It also implies that we know absolutely nothing. They worked on this movie for over 2 years ago. Like, that started in 2021 till 2023. It's 2025, and we didn't know about this movie until last week. Like, they are keeping quite the secrets over there. Even the Maul Shadow Lord series, we didn't know anything about that until it was announced at Star Wars Celebration. It was just this mic drop moment because we didn't know anything about it. So they can really keep a secret over there, and it makes you question, what else are they keeping a secret over there? But yeah.
Well, it also, like you said, the Dave Filoni being involved in it, because I think when we talked last week, that wasn't known yet. All they knew that he approved it, and then it kind of came out even the next day, maybe, that he was a little bit more involved in actually developing it. And then it makes you think of, that was how long ago? Obviously, they're working on like the Rey movie. So how much of if you were writing that movie under the assumption it's going to happen, what kind of pieces of the puzzle exist in that script that like you either haven't changed yet, or you like are just going to leave it and it's not going to make sense until later? You know what I mean? Like, because that could, whatever's in that script probably very heavily, and it would have to tie into the Rey movie. So if you wrote the Rey movie assuming that Ben Solo was going to happen,
well, it explains
what did it feed into it? Like, what kind of information are we missing, or did they have to like rewrite later?
It kind of explains why the Rey movie had these surprise jump backs in timing. Where they're like, all of a sudden, well, actually the Rey movie is now we're really talking about it now. And you go back in time, I bet you could go back 2 years ago and see whatever news was out about a Rey movie or whatever Dave Filoni's movie is going to be, like, we're changing dates around, right when they're assuming that after spending millions of dollars on this movie, they're going to be making it. How does that influence, like you said, how they make that one? And also, how does it influence like whatever Starfighter is, what that's going to be? How does that influence, have they already kind of taken it apart and put it into other things? Or because that's the one thing that worries me, and I don't want to know. For people out there who want to see the script, we can't. The second we learn anything about the script is the second it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So, but like, I wonder if they've taken any parts of that story, like you said, Austin, that are necessary to the world they're building in this new wave of things they're putting out, a new phase of things they're putting out. Like, how much of it is from there, or influences that, or is influenced by that? We won't know.
Absolutely. But you also have to put into effect that this isn't the first time that Disney or Lucasfilm, has had to fight for something. The news has sort of come reemerged about Kathleen Kennedy and her fight for that Clone Wars season 7, because she fought for that like crazy. Clone Wars season 7 leads to the Bad Batch, which is a 3-season series which ran for over 4 years. So it's something that, like, yes, aspects of what could have been or what will still happen with the hunt for Ben Solo will be in Starfighter, will be in the Rey movie, will be all across the board. Because if you don't do Clone Wars season 7, you could still do the Bad Batch without the setup from Clone Wars season 7. But because the Clone Wars season 7 gets made, now you have that whole arc with the Bad Batch, and you can go into the Bad Batch series. So now if you don't do the hunt for Ben Solo, you can still have aspects of that incredible script in other places. You could still even bring back Ben Solo and just be like, F you to Disney, but I don't know. What I think actually happened, and now, Nick, you actually made me think of this, when the Rey movie was announced, this was 2023 Star Wars Celebration, and we hadn't heard about a Rey movie until a couple months before that Star Wars Celebration. Maybe it was a couple months before that Star Wars Celebration when they said no to the Ben Solo movie, and Lucasfilm panicked, said, we were going to announce this at Star Wars Celebration in a couple months. We got to do a big old 180 here. And then they had to announce the Rey movie, which was nowhere. They didn't. They just got a writer. So maybe that's why the Rey movie still hasn't happened yet, still hasn't come to fruition, because they were thinking Ben Solo all the way. And then last minute, Disney was like, nope. And they were like, oh shit, what do we do? So they brought back Daisy Ridley, the next best thing, because Ben Solo, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, they bring back the next best thing and they don't have an idea for it, so they just keep postponing it. The reaction to the Rey movie was not what they thought it was going to be at all, so they keep postponing it. They do the Mandalorian and Grogu movie instead, and maybe aspects of that Hunt for Ben Solo in a Starfighter movie instead. And the Rey movie eventually will still happen, but I think that might be exactly what happened. They just had to call an audible real quick because Disney said, Ben Solo's not still alive. What are you talking about? Okay, do Rey instead. Okay, let's do Rey.
Yeah, I think I love that. I think that's exactly. I mean, because if you were assuming you're going to make more Star Wars movies, a Rey movie is going to happen. That's an easy thing to announce. Because of course that's going to happen eventually. Like that's if you're going to move forward, it has to. There's really no option. Yeah. So it was an easy thing to audible and just go, you know what, just pull it out of the file. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to answer my mom on this just to be funny. There's a whole 3-movie arc about Kylo Ren and Rey called The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. But I think what my mom's getting at is it'd be interesting to see more from that. Like now that they're at a point where there's more understood about them and everything. And if what even the hell the hunt for Ben Solo is, right? Like what they're always really good with titles kind of meaning something. Yeah. And then you get it wrong, whatever. So like The Last Jedi, famously or infamously, is about Luke, you think, and then it's about Rey, right? Like, or it's actually not about a Last Jedi at all. It's Luke famously says, and I am not the Last Jedi. Everything you said about that was wrong. Rise of Skywalker, I think, literally translates to Ben crawling out of there, whether it's him or not. And The Force Awakens, I think, refers to everything that occurs with Rey, everything that occurs with Finn. Snoke talks about it, blah, blah, blah. So the hunt for Ben Solo, I don't think actually implies that he's alive, but we're hoping it does if Adam Driver's in it. Yeah. But it could mean a lot of things. And so, I don't know. On another note, Austin, I want to kick this to you. If it's the case that people are coming around to the sequels, how does that make you feel? And Mike, I don't know if you could tell already, but Austin was on the front lines for the sequels.
I do want to make a clarification though. I do want to make clarification though. Sequels does not necessarily include the Rise of Skywalker love. But I enjoy it still. But people coming around to it, which I don't think, I feel like it's less people coming around to it and more people just being, well, if we're going to move forward, that's who I'd want to see moving forward. Yeah. It's more of a acceptance, which I think is fine too, because you don't have to like anything. I guess my biggest thing is I think it's the same thing with the prequels, when that was coming around, is just I hope more people just will watch everything, and because my biggest thing is when you don't have to like it, but the people who are like, it doesn't exist. It's like, it does, you don't have to enjoy it, but it's a thing that it does exist.
Yeah. If you think it exists, you're not a true Star Wars fan. That's my favorite.
Yeah. That's
God,
it's just
don't even get me started.
But we're going to, I'm assuming at some point we'll go way back, to the nights that we'll do that kind of stuff. But, everything's gonna move forward from here, and it's gonna be connected to this. So I think it's gonna be important that if you really want to know the lore of Star Wars, that you gotta watch them. You gotta watch them and you gotta understand them. If you really want to do what we do now, to do that 15 years from now, you're gonna have to know your sequel stuff, right? And just how you get to know your prequel stuff. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's not like this for everybody. And we always paint in broad strokes as Star Wars fans, but this is not like it for everybody. But so much of the hate for the prequels, hate for the sequels, hate for all the shows it comes from a place where I loved the originals or I loved the prequels. Anything different, I don't like. So it's just something new that just fans are immediately going to say, that's not Star Wars, that's not this, that's not that. Even with like Andor. Andor is a freaking masterpiece, but because it's no lightsabers, because it's no force, there's not enough aliens, whatever it is, it's not Star Wars, or it's something in Star Wars but not Star Wars. Like there's just all these complaints because it's not what they know and love, and it's the same thing that's going to happen over and over and over again. But new and improved is new and improved, or just new doesn't have to be improved either. But just new is sometimes better, sometimes worse, sometimes just an expansion of what we already know and love. It's just a lot of, and hey, I always compare it to food because that's what I love. Other than Star Wars, I also love food. But I compare it to food. Everybody on Earth has a different taste bud for food, for specific foods. I like pineapple on pizza. I know it's crazy, but a lot of people really don't, and they really, really, really don't. And they're like, "You're crazy if you do." And maybe I'm crazy, but that's okay. But everybody has different opinions when it comes to food. Star Wars is just the same. People have millions of Star Wars fans have millions of different opinions when it comes to Star Wars. They all have a different favorite Star Wars, favorite show, favorite movie, favorite character. And as soon as that character changes, Boba Fett, the perfect example. Everybody loved Boba Fett. He has like 2 minutes of screen time, 3 lines in the original trilogy, and everybody loved him because of the mystery behind him. And then when he gets his own show, people call him Beta Fett, and they call him Boba Fett and all this other great stuff. Cool little nicknames, you know. So it's just fans arguing because not a single person on this planet has the exact same opinion when it comes to anything.
I would also throw out there that we might be, I think that's why we do this. We're kind of like the Balin Skull attempt at all this never-ending cycle of something coming out, and there always being issues. I think the reason why Star Wars Jedi Chat exists for Ron is to be a place where we can talk about what we love about it. And if there's something we don't like, we talk about it, but like it needs more of this type of thing. We need more of the people like all of you guys who are in the chat who will tell us what you think, what you love, why you love it. Like my dad here, this one's pretty interesting. He's an OG guy. I know he's an Empire guy, but he loved the Acolyte. We're back to the Acolyte, which is a good segue because I'm going to throw out here back to the topic of Kylo Ren. Another piece of news we got this week is we kind of got the somewhat of a confirmation of what Leslie Hyland said about Kylo Ren's theme playing during the Acolyte for The Stranger.
Yep.
And how they were at least thinking about making him potentially the original Knight of Ren.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, like Acolyte was worked on for a while. It was probably overlapped when they knew that they were working with something cool with The Hunt for Ben Solo. So yet another project that is affected, and also I read this morning, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the people that blocked The Hunt for Ben Solo was also involved with canceling the Acolyte. And and that came from the Disney top as well. So I think we've already seen what Austin was talking about with The Hunt for Ben Solo having had potential implications for stuff we were getting, or at least that character, the setup. That's actually, let's say Acolyte wasn't canceled and that Hunt for Ben Solo is happening. That's exactly the phenomenon we were talking about before with other shows minorly influencing the next thing. Like not that The Stranger has anything to do with the Ben Solo movie, but that it's a little nod that kind of leads you into a topic that comes in something else.
No, absolutely. I think before the Acolyte got canceled, before the Hunt for Ben Solo got canceled, there was going to be a heavy involvement of Knights of Ren explanation, of Kylo Ren explanation, all that stuff, and the Acolyte would play a big role in that. I actually do have the quote from Leslie Headland from that book if you want me to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from the Art of the Acolyte book that just either came out or is coming out. I'm not too sure. But her quote says this: "It was in the design of the character, as well as knowing where we're going to introduce Darth Plagueis, who has to end up with Palpatine as his apprentice, following the rule of two, a precept that limited the Sith to just two at any given time, master and apprentice. One way to keep it was if the stranger was going to be the first Knight of Ren, part of a Sith-adjacent cult that we know eventually survives." So not only does this imply, well, one, that he's the first ever Knight of Ren, but two, that Plagueis, when he's looking at him in that cave, is not like looking at him like, oh, that's my apprentice over there. He's looking at him like, that's a threat, or that's a problem, because
Like
he's
spying
exposing.
on him.
Yeah, he's exposing himself way too much to the Jedi. He's got a red lightsaber. They're gonna start looking for me eventually. Like, we got to fix this. So that changes how we watch that scene, but it also means that maybe in an Acolyte season 2 or later down the line, we could have gotten to see Darth Plagueis in action versus the stranger, which would have been incredible. But I mean, it just is the biggest what if, and it connects to the Hunt for Ben Solo, it connects to the Knights of Ren, it connects to Kylo Ren and what's happening right now in the comics with the Knights of Ren. But it's just so cool. And it always, what Nick is always talking about, which is the fact that there could be branch Jedi, branch Sith at the same time as the rule of two, at the same time as the Jedi Order. Like, there can be those branch, because the galaxy's so large, somewhere off in the unknown regions or something.
Yeah. Papa Boz raises a good point here. But I would like to push back on it, that I think they made the Acolyte with the intention of a season 2 at least.
Yeah.
And I know that like the cliffhanger now doesn't make sense if it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But I think they said, oh, this is going to be a one-off thing, and it clearly wasn't. You got to like the second to last episode, you can tell this was not the whole story. And some of these big questions, if there hadn't been so much hatred and all that stuff going on, but like if we were getting a second season, we wouldn't be hearing complaints about like, well, the stranger can't be there because it's Plagueis and he's revealed himself as a Sith to the Jedi, all this kind of stuff. That Knights of Ren thing is actually a pretty beautifully woven scenario that would be helpful, despite the fact that everyone who hated it ignored that, like, we kind of tied up all the loose ends by the end of the Acolyte. Everybody who's ever seen him is dead. Everybody who would be able to tell anybody else never witnessed it.
Yep.
It does leave it open end for whatever's going on with Vernestra, but we may not ever know. And so I just think like if it weren't for the PR leading up to the show, it would be more apparent that what actually happened was Leslie Heidland actually did like do a lot of due diligence with Dave Filoni, Pablo Hidalgo to make things weave together. And they were intending on having a lot longer time to tell that story. And now they don't. That's also why I rally against the 8-episode arcs for shows like that, but that's different.
Yeah. Well, to Papa Boz's point too, like it might have won more people over. By the time of episode 8, it was already said and done. Like, there was nothing that was going to save that story if they started explaining Darth Plagueis a little bit more at the end. I think the cliffhanger was the perfect way to do it, to make you want more. And that probably would have won fans over more if they made it that far. I find it really funny with the Acolyte because, as Nick sort of just mentioned, it was always like it will break canon. It's going to break canon, and it never did. Because all these Jedi have seen him and Soul survives the forest. It's going to ruin everything, and then he dies. So the problem is the best episode of that series is episode 8 and episode 5. And they're two incredible episodes, but they're also just these incredible lightsaber duels. And it came in at a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it already came in with the premiere being like, divided. And then by episode 3, which was the All Witches episode, which apparently they didn't watch the Clone Wars, so that was a big issue. So people didn't even make it to episode 5 before it was already this disaster. So I don't think the cliffhangers at the end would have, won more fans over.
Yeah, I think you had the people, and I'm sure there's a lot of people also who went into it with open eyes and were excited about it, and then genuinely didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
But I think you would see a lot of people didn't like it before it came out, and then weren't going to like it when they watched it, or if they just didn't watch it, right? Which, if you don't watch it if you don't want to, that's my thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it, but
I was even. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it was gonna kind of end up being something else. So,
I was just gonna say, even I, who, jokes about how we talk about the Acolyte all the time, but then still brings it up.
Yeah.
So even me, I had problems with it. But my problems were like, man, they spent a lot of money on this for it to inconsistently look great and then not that great at times, visually. Or I personally hate a chunky lightsaber hilt. I think it looks bad. It's these little things. Or I thought that 8 episodes wasn't the way to go, and the way they paced them out with the flashback episodes and everything was weird, and it kind of takes you out of the momentum.
Yeah.
But at least those were gripes after the fact. So, that's where I'm at. But Austin, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I feel like season 2 would have just been another piece that doesn't seem like it. I think would improve if people paid attention or cared. It would improve their outlook on some of the sequel stuff, especially just Kylo Ren in general. Because I think the whole idea of, the stranger he's doing the whole Ren thing. Why, right? Did he try to go with the Sith? Didn't work out. He didn't like the Sith. He didn't agree with them. Does he know they exist? Whatever it is, why is he doing it?
Yeah.
But I know that I've seen some stuff on Twitter. Again, I didn't read the comics, so anyone can correct me. But there's didn't Palpatine meet the Knights of Ren in one of the comics? The Knights of Ren that existed during his time.
Jacob, if you're still here,
I thought I saw that.
I know the Knights of Ren are with the Crimson Dawn.
Yeah,
they're with Kira in the comics at one point.
I thought I saw a comic strip. If it's true, what it showed was basically he met them and he's like, "What's up, you biker gang? You guys are he just there's no, they don't respect him, right?"
Yeah.
So knowing that, and then you see Ben Solo went evil, but didn't go full Sith and decided to go with the Knights of Ren instead. That's he's not even fully committed to the dark side, right? It kind of helps you see you could see the split in his loyalties and stuff, but it would just enhance it, I think.
We kind of touched on that last week too, to give devil's advocate to where we get to before episode 7. It's not as if Kylo Ren is by the time Luke gets lost is a member, full-fledged general of the First Order. He went off and joined the Hell's Angels.
Yeah.
Tomb Raiders. And it's man, I lost your nephew to the gang life, and he unfortunately murdered a bunch of my people, and this sucks. Who we get when we meet him, like my dad was saying earlier, is the completion of that Knights of Ren time. And you said that last week, Mike. By the time we meet him in The Force Awakens, he is not with the Knights of Ren. He's not with them in The Last Jedi, and he's back with them now that he's cleared his own path in The Rise of Skywalker. So, like you said, Austin, there's a lot that could be explored as to how they come about, which is explained in the comics, but it'd be cool. Did Plagueis kind of start him as an acolyte and then say, you know what, I'm not into this. He's taking his own acolytes. I'm spying on him right now. Now he's got this girl with him. I don't like it. God, I get him mixed up. Is he with May at the end? The stranger?
Osha, sorry.
Osha.
Yeah.
So he's with Osha. Is Osha then become the first knight of Ren under Ren? Like the first knight under Ren? Like,
Yeah, I don't really know because the Knights of Ren themselves, I don't think are Force users, at least the ones in the sequels, and they're not like they're just marauders. Like just the leader seems to be a red lightsaber wielding Force user for the most part.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know, lots to think about. I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad we took a second to finally talk about the Acolyte this
Yeah.
week, you know. But yeah, I don't know. So raises the same question of why Disney supposedly turned it down. So Mike, we're a week removed. How do you think Ben Solo could be back?
I think the World Between Worlds is still the way to do it. And I think the Star Wars fans are going to get a big win under their belts because Star Wars fans have so much power to do stuff like this. I mean, put up billboards in New York City is pretty crazy. But just to, I guess, affect the story that you're going to see. Obviously, a surprise is great. I mean, we got Andor surprise, Mando a surprise, Starfighter surprise, like all this stuff that we're getting right now. The Mandoverse, all that was sort of not us asking for it. Nobody was asking for a Mando show or an Andor show, but we got it and it was great. So I think Star Wars fans are going to get a win of their own. We did, I guess, cast Rosario Dawson as live action Ahsoka, which is a win for the Star Wars fans. But this would feel like a good, we did it, taking down the big guy. Like it feel like the little guy won, even though there's millions of us. So I think it'll still happen, and I think the World Between Worlds is the way to do it.
Austin?
Well, last week I think I was pretty confident that like it was going to happen for sure. I still just with given like some of the stuff, I feel like I still stand by Ben Solo's coming back. I think it's just going to be maybe it's not going to be a movie. It's just going to be a appearance, you know. But I think it's you have to use the World Between Worlds, I think, in some capacity. Again, depending on how they do it, they can show very little of that and leave it up to your imagination. And then all of a sudden he's just there and they give a little brief one, or they can go really in depth and really tell you why, which would be cool. But yeah, I think it's got to be through World Between Worlds. I just don't know how. It's an easy reset button. I feel like at this point, since it's so undefined, they can do whatever they want.
I got a question for you guys, and you just made me think of it, Austin, was it's called The Hunt for Ben Solo. Is it possible that it's a movie about Rey and she's looking to get Ben Solo back? For example, it's like when Ezra is told by the holocron or whatever, like he's looking for answers. He goes to Obi-Wan, whatever. And eventually it leads him to Lothal, to the Jedi Temple, to find answers. And he goes in the World Between Worlds again to find answers. And the answer he finds is Ahsoka Tano. Now, the Force itself obviously led him there and led him to Ahsoka to pull her out in that fight. And that's what was destined to happen, blah, 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 blah. But what if Rey goes on a similar journey where she can almost like sense Ben's presence still around? Like she knows that he's still there somewhere. And she's the one who actually goes, finds a temple, who knows where, goes into the World Between Worlds herself. And much like Ezra does to Ahsoka, she's the one who pulls Ben out and saves him. So it's actually the hunt for Ben Solo, and she's the one who rescues him.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love that. I would love that idea. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it would make a really cool movie. The thing I question is if Adam Driver was the guy writing it and he loves Ben Solo so much, I feel like he'd be the main character. I mean, who knows? Maybe he loves the character so much that he's willing. You know, he knows that he's a small piece of the puzzle in the first movie. If they think they're going to make more, you know, and this kind of opens it up, but it makes you, with how much passion he seems to have for the character, I guess you could read that one of two ways. Either he knows he needs to sacrifice the screen time, or he's like, no, we need to flush out this guy because he's awesome and you guys need to see it.
Or what if during the events of the movie, to make him more involved, I guess, he's sort of like Qui-Gon to Obi-Wan, or no, Qui-Gon to Yoda in season 6 of the Clone Wars, where he can't physically appear as a Force ghost to Yoda, but he can talk to Yoda when Yoda's meditating. So it's like opening scene, Rey's meditating, and she just hears Ben talking to him. And she's like, she wakes up, she's like, what the hell? So the whole movie, Ben's like talking to her, maybe can't physically see him, but this is what leads her to the world between worlds and leads her to this almighty power, because she wouldn't know about the world between worlds either. Thoughts on that? So Ben would be more involved because you'd hear him throughout the entire movie, and maybe you'd even see him as a Force ghost if we can. Or maybe it's like Ahsoka season 2, where there's two completely different stories going on at the same time. We get half the movie is Ben Solo in this afterlife state, roaming around like, what the hell's going on, trying to find his way back home, talking to Rey, and then the other half is Rey trying to find the world between worlds.
I mean, I love it all. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm like you. I'm sold. Really, no matter what you say, I'm sold on it. I'm an easy sell right now. I do like. I think just thinking about, and I think we said it last week too, just how good of an actor Adam Driver is, right? I think I would love to see Star Wars, not saying this is the time for it, but dip their toes in other genres, kind of like they did Andor, right? Like, do different stuff, and like Hunt for Ben Solo with an actor like Adam Driver could get really introspective and like depressing really quick. I mean, and it would be cool, right? Like the whole Hunt for Ben Solo is him in the world between worlds having to basically fight everything he's done so far, and like gets depressed, right? Like, I mean, he's trying to be good, all that kind of stuff. I think you could make it so, and they also talk about how it was a smaller budget.
That's true.
So like that also makes me think that it's maybe it would have been a little more isolated and like a emotional movie, which I think would be, I would love to see Star Wars do different stuff like that.
Forgive me if I didn't know this, because I don't know this, but if everyone else knew this, did they say anything about when the movie would take place?
No, I think they just said after Rise of Skywalker. That's the only thing any article says after.
Not how long or
no, I mean, it would have to be pretty close after. Maybe not actually, because Ezra saves Ahsoka like years later.
Yeah. Okay, you guys got my gears turning, especially like when, So I actually, when you said that, when you started that theory off, Mike, I actually thought about, maybe he didn't break any kind of NDA except for the, what they did.
Yeah.
I could see this, like when they say we paid the most we've ever paid for a script. No offense to the things we love, but that means that script was so good and interesting that it would be unlike what our expectations would be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I thought of immediately was that, it's not necessarily going to wind up with a Ben Solo heavy arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like the idea that it brings him back somehow or whatever, but as Holly pointed out, they're a dyad. I don't know how that works. I've said it before. Can people feel him in the room when Rey's standing in the room? Would anybody who got out of Luke's temple be so jaded by him doing it that they're looking for him and hunting for him? And it turns out it's Rey. Is it Ben Solo just himself trying to get back, or try to figure out afterlife, like you said? Is it Rey trying to find him? Is it just 2 hours of a lower budget Star Wars movie that's really good and introspective, like Austin said, and it ends with him getting up the strength to climb up to the top of the Exegol place?
Yeah.
Like, I will say this. I don't see them going super deep in Ahsoka with the World Between Worlds and then doing the same thing in the Hunt for Ben Solo. That's what I would say. But who knows? Maybe because they didn't do the Hunt for Ben Solo, they put that in the Ahsoka series. I don't know. But
well, you sort of made me think of something. In the sequels, there's so many scenes where these two, especially in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, they not only are able to physically like teleport the lightsaber, but also physically touch on Arc 2. They can see they can't see their surroundings. They can't see each other's surroundings, but they can see each other, right? Because it's not until when they're fighting with the lightsaber, they can literally fight with lightsabers. They fight with lightsabers, and it's not until like they slice Vader's helmet off, and that's when Kylo realizes that she's on the ship in Rise of Skywalker.
And he snatches her necklace.
Oh, that too. Yeah. So they can't see their surroundings. So maybe that connection's still there, even though Ben's dead. And they're still like having conversations, and she can see him, he can see her, but they can't see each other's surroundings. So Ben's like, I don't know where I am. Come find me. And, and like it's a whole hunt for Ben Solo. Yeah.
And so there was a comment in here. My mouse isn't working. There we go. About how, there we go. I don't think Adam would put that much effort into a Rey movie, though. I kind of think he might.
Yeah.
I kind of think he might do that with, extrapolating on this character that he loves so much. I don't think he would go and work on the Rey movie, but I don't think he would just make it solely like a one-man performance about Ben Solo after he's dead. I think he would actually put in the effort to make all of the relevant pieces fit.
I think he wants his character to come back, and if that costs him not being in the first movie that much, he'll be a big part of it, but if it costs him not being in that movie that first much, just to explain how he comes back in a good way that is deserving, like we get for like Maul in Clone Wars, and people love it, then he'll do that. Like he will not take the most amount of minutes on screen to be able to come back and play the role even further into the future. Like I think he can sacrifice a little bit.
Well, and we talked about this last week when this news first came out, how like we were surprised Adam Driver seemed to be interested because he kind of had the Harrison Ford vibes a lot of times. But I could also see, since we had no idea, it almost like he at the end of the day might not care about Rey, or like as Adam Driver, he doesn't care about Star Wars. He cares about Ben Solo, right? Like those movies he did, he liked that, he loved that character, and it happened to exist in Star Wars, right? So I think if he was behind the script, I think they maybe added stuff, but they weren't trying to enhance Star Wars in that script. They were enhancing Ben Solo in that script.
All right. Well, sadly, boys, I do have to get on out of here now. But keep talking Ben Solo, of course, and I'm sure if anything crazy changes, we might be back here next Wednesday talking about Ben Solo again.
You heard it here first.
Well, the best news would be next time we see each other, it would be back on. Yeah. I mean, that would be great. But I can only dream.
Same here.
But
thanks for being here, Mike.
Of course, was a blast.
We'll see you next week. Hey, everybody, tune in to Mike's live stream tomorrow and Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, a lot of Ahsoka Season 2 and even more Ben Solo, of course.
Yeah, what do you got tomorrow?
Dad. A lot of Ahsoka Season 2, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
A lot of that stuff. All right.
See you. Thanks, Mike. See you later.
Of course. Bye.
All right. I think Austin's got a
Yeah. So
quick second over there.
saying goodnight to Graham real quick.
There you go. Cool. Who do we got on here still? We got 10 people on, it looks like. Yeah, Mike's live stream. I know many of you in here are on that on a weekly basis. It's the best. It's great. Mike does a really good job, obviously, of taking everything that we would talk about on a weekly basis and just sprinting with it. Like when he first told me about Abeloth maybe being in Ahsoka season 2, I was like, I don't know. And then the more I listen to him, the more I'm ready to get some Abeloth. So,
well, it's happening. If it doesn't, we boycott.
Yeah, we riot.
Yeah, we riot.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing that I guess it's kind of weird I didn't think about until you brought it up, Austin, is how much on the Lucasfilm side, the hunt for Ben Solo would have presumably laid out their entire game plan for the next handful of years. And if that were gutted, what was changed? Have we already gotten amended versions of things? Were there things that we have gotten, like we talked about, the Acolyte seems to be intertwined a little bit with what they were going for. Are there things we've already seen that now no longer are tied to the big dog?
Yeah. Like if we ever somehow down the road, say that movie, because even if something happens and they make a movie, it's not going to be that script. There's no way. Like I feel like it's going to change, even if it's just a little bit. It's going to be different. And yeah, how many things are we seeing happen in movies and shows where it's like we would see it in the hunt for, something would happen in that movie. You'd go, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Like how much do you think would change?
I think the biggest thing could be, well, I don't know if they would change it though, is just like assuming Ben Solo's back, he's whatever he is, so it's happening Force World Between Worlds, right? Like it has to be, right? Because he's dead. So it's like that's a lot of lore to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
So like having that script written, that would maybe that I could see that being something that it like established some rules. I know we were talking about maybe not having as many rules, but it could have established some like stuff about the World Between Worlds that maybe the Rey movie is going to utilize or something, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I full on agree with Max Rebo here. I think the dysfunction of the schedule can probably be pointed at this thing that happened. And
yeah,
like who knows how many others there were like this. That just don't have as much. We had like what was it, like the Rogue Squadron, or what was the one that was about like the pilots? That was highly anticipated.
Yeah.
Gone.
Is it New Republic something?
Rangers of the New Republic was another one.
There it is. That one.
Yep. And then, so I think this had a lot to do with feeling disjointed, like Max Rebo says, about projects coming up.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. The sad thing about the hunt for Ben Solo is like, depending on what was actually in that script, like you said, might not be applicable anymore.
Yeah, they could have because if you're that far done and confident in it, and then you get shot down, do you just go, all right, screw it, that no longer exists, like we can't, it's never going to happen, it got shot down when we had the whole thing written already, like there's nothing we could do. So they just like anything that they start dividing it up in other projects, but okay, we tweak that a little bit because it didn't really, it works better this way now that it's like its own thing. So it's like that, whatever that movie was, like I don't think will ever exist the way that it was written.
In that line of thinking, it'd be like the hunt for Ben Solo is Legends, and they're taking the parts of it that they can use.
Yeah. Well, also the other thing that makes me think is because the other comment one of the articles was saying was like the way that Soderbergh explained it was that he asked Kathleen Kennedy if she had ever brought a movie fully written and had it turned down, and she said no. Like, he phrased it that way, right?
Yeah.
So she's brought fully written movies ready to shoot to Disney before.
It's probably how they prefer them.
Well, yeah, and probably, yeah, I would assume it is, right? So then it makes you think if like Hunt of Ben Solo was all that stuff done, and then it got shot down, and we never got an announcement for it, right? So the fact that we've got an announcement for other movies,
yeah,
did they change the way they do it, or did those movies really get announced with? Were they done? Did they have that much, right? And are we going to see other directors start poking their head out and be like, hey, by the way, we also had a script written for Taika Waititi movie that was announced. You know?
Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah.
Like him, it was like him, Ryan Johnson, obviously.
Yeah.
The bunch of, there's a lot of stuff there right away.
Yeah. I think Mike was on the right track with like whatever happens with the Rey situation has definitely been influenced by this move.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were all, like you said, they were always going to reach for Rey at some point, but now they really seems like they really decided that was what they're going to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure like to some extent, because you like to think that they could have like, maybe they did it a lot earlier than they wanted to. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you want to continue, right, it depends on what your goal is. Like, I mean, you want to get Daisy Ridley in movies as soon as possible. You don't want to wait too long, you know? Not that she's old or anything, but just like, it's just like the longer you wait, I feel like the more forced you are into a certain timeline.
Yeah.
Right?
Like we did with the sequels. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you couldn't, any new movie had to be 40 years later because everyone was older. Like you didn't have a choice. But I just hope they're going to wait 40 years. But
I just hope Ben Solo's fisherman sweater makes it into the movie
popcorn.
If we ever get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what Max Rebo said, something about the popcorn bucket.
Yeah. So I would like to shift gears. We're going to test something out. To the 9 of you that are here, thank you so much. We're going to test something out here that we've done before. But it's very simple. Q&A. So, we've been talking about the Ben Solo stuff a lot. We talked about Ahsoka season 2. Wanted to take, handful, 10, 15 minutes at the end here to just talk Star Wars. Unadulterated, full stream of consciousness. Throw it out there. So I'm going to get it started with one that I saw earlier. Let's just start with Papa Boz 66. Do we think Maul will be a 1 episode a week sort of thing? So for those who may need a reminder, Maul Shadow Lord is an animated series that's coming out relatively soon. I believe the beginning of the year of 2026 or sometime. This is where we need Mike. I'm not as plugged into dates as I used to be.
Same.
Can you actually look that up, Jarvis?
Yeah. Hey, pull that video up.
I think Papa Boz that it'll probably be a few episodes to start. Like we'll get that shotgun to start. And then it'll be a 1 episode thing. And then I can't remember. Do you remember, Austin? Did they take like a little bit of a break in Bad Batch? Like they did like a couple episodes
like
in a
mid-season almost.
Yeah. Am I thinking of the wrong animated show?
Honestly, I don't think I watched Bad Batch as it came out. So I ended up catching it later. So I don't remember.
There were instances where it came out with a couple at a time. There were instances where it came out with, 1 a week. I think it's safe to say it's 1 a week with a couple of doubles. And that depends on how long it goes though. Like if it's 15 of them or 12 of them, I think you'd see a double on the front end and maybe a double on the back end. But who
If
knows?
you're
Like,
yeah, hate to break it to you, it's gonna be 8 episodes.
oh, shit.
No, I guess
Yeah.
what was Bad Batch?
I don't remember. I think they were different each one, but yeah, that's the thing. We don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, we get a lot done in the Tales animated series now. So, I don't think they'll return to the Clone Wars situation where we get 20 something. But I'd be interested to see. This is possible too. Weekly dump of multiple episodes. I think we all kind of like the Andor thing. Andor did need that. I think the Andor would have been tough to do one at a time. Would have lost people. I think this is a great opportunity to do the dump again, especially take a dump again of episodes, especially if we're spanning, a particular amount of time from all. You know what I mean? Like we could do the whole entire Crimson Dawn arc, post Clone Wars arc, leading into Rebels thing. If it's one season, you might as well do episode dumps.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think was Andor 3 episodes at a time? Was it a 3-episode arc?
4 rounds of 3.
Yeah, I know. It just makes me think. Because my parents, I think, just finished watching it, and like my mom, she's like, she watched like episode 5, and then they stopped. Like they watched 4 and 5, and then didn't continue. And she's like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Well, it's like a 3-episode thing, so yeah, you're
committed to a movie."
Yeah.
Jacob writes, what side characters deserve more time in the light? Solo movie, show, comic book series, etc. Ooh, Jacob, why don't you put in what you think while we think about it, and everybody else in the chat join it. So who do you think deserves a little more, a little more love, a little more attention, a little more screen time?
Man, I mean, I would love to see, and I know it's gonna sound like, I think I've even said it before, like get sick of the prequel era, but I would love some more Jedi stuff. Just like, because they were all doing such different stuff, and what was the book called? I have it.
Oh, it was
Living Force. The Living Force.
Yeah.
Like I did the audiobook for that one. It was awesome. Like getting all those other weird Jedi that you never thought you'd ever hear from.
Yeah. Jacob says Revan. I think that's kind of a big one for everybody, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Revan off my list because I think we got to get a base level story that he's involved in on the screen first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have it.
Yeah.
But I want to usher in the Old Republic at a time where we can actually go full depth into it. If Old Republic got announced right now, I would be ecstatic, but there's so much other Star Wars stuff going on that it's like, I think it kind of
a lot.
Yeah. But I'm with Papa Boz on Palpatine, although we get a lot. I'm always down for more Palpatine, always down for more Sidious. I would love a between the High Republic and prequel kind of like Plagueis-y thing.
The Darth Plagueis novel.
Yeah, well, yeah, that basically have James Luceno write a script as like a political thriller leading into the prequels.
Yeah.
Love it.
The only thing that sucks there is that what do you do for an actor?
Well, I know. I'm just
saying.
He doesn't even have to. What do you guys think? So Jacob also said Poe Dameron in his time prior to joining the rebellion. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. And you could pull it off like right now. I will say, since he said Poe Dameron and my dad said Chewie, I think I say yet again, an animated series between 6 and 7 with original characters is something that would be very cool and be a way to keep it going a little bit. And an animated series, much like the Clone Wars, where we can kind of jump around, is ensemble based. get a little more out of them. I would even take some more stuff of between Empire and Jedi. I guess I'm only naming time periods, not people.
Yeah, which side character? Well, that era.
Yeah. This year.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it before. The Stranger, I think, deserves more. Whether we get it or not is a whole other topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other like I'm trying to think of like a legit side character that would be interesting. Because it's hard because every side character I think of, it's like really a movie about that guy.
Yeah.
Like first person that came out was Dexter Jetster.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
Like that would probably be sick.
Oh, buddy. Oh, I love Dexter. Yeah, I would like that because also I feel like Dexter is kind of like Obi-Wan's criminal informant. Like Obi-Wan,
yeah.
he owes Obi-Wan something.
Yeah.
I feel was it last week I brought up Obi-Wan's Qui-Gon-isms in Attack of the Clones, or was it 2 weeks ago?
That might have been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I went off. It was not good.
It's not good.
I probably lost a lot of people on the stream, but I think one Qui-Gonism of Obi-Wan is that he's like, before he goes to the archives, I'm pretty sure he goes to his little diner, like criminal CI, to say like, hey, what's this? Where do I find this? He didn't take it to Jocasta Nu when he has an official investigation on this dart. He goes to Dexter, man, I love that guy. Yeah. My dad says Mace Windu. You and a lot of people, man. He is. People are begging for it. I would take a Mace Windu that doesn't involve him surviving Revenge of the Sith. I'll be the bad guy. I don't want to.
I think I think a young Mace Windu would be cool. Again, any Jedi stuff that you can do around there.
I think that infringes on I think we're infringing on Jacob's question though, because I don't think of Mace Windu as a side character.
Yeah,
even though he is, like, Poe Dameron, I don't know, is also a main character of sorts. He's
I think that's what I was saying is like who, because when I think of side characters, I think of like those, like what do they call them on Twitter, like a glup shitto, or it's just a random person, and it's like I can't think of like someone who's like a legit just side character in the story that I would that we don't know a lot about already, I guess.
Yeah. I would like.
I do think. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you.
I was going to say, this kind of goes back to something I said before. Like, regardless of who it was, this would be the time for Star Wars to experiment in like other projects, right? Mm. Like, you could do like it's kind of like how they kind of talked like Boba Fett was going to be like a Hutt mob movie, right? Or just like a mob thriller based around the Hutts. It's like The Sopranos, basically, but maybe not that vulgar. But I think that would be the time to do it with some of those side. You could get creative.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you have any more in there, let's get them in. But I like this one from my mom. How about instead of the full ranking, why don't you just throw your top 3 in there, personal top 3? Everybody. I think our ranking episode will have to be like a whole thing. Maybe we don't do this one. Sorry, Mom. Because we are planning on doing like a Star Wars films ranking. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I'm actually gonna take that one out. But any other Q&As? And also look forward to our ranking episode in the future. To what you're saying, Austin, prior to 2 years ago or whenever that was, maybe 3 now already, the character I would have answered Jacob about is Dooku. And we got like surprisingly enough, I was very satisfied with like 30 or 30 whole minutes of it, or 45 minutes of it. And the book by Kevin Scott's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is this real? Max Rebo? We have a solo lover in here. If that's real, then that's great, because we've
love it.
talked at length about how Solo's underrated.
Make Solo 2 happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, that one's done.
Yep. Ooh, what do you think, Austin? Who would you cast as young Dooku?
That's a hard one. Because it's gonna probably sound like a joke, but the first person who came to mind, not saying it's a good one, is Benedict Cumberbatch. But then, like, the part that gets me is that Christopher Lee's voice, is so deep and cool, and like, not that you need to do an impersonation of him, right? Because I mean, we saw that with who I think the Solo interpretation was a good Han Solo. He wasn't impersonating Harrison Ford necessarily, but I feel like it'd have to be somebody with like a little bit of a deeper presence.
Yeah, he'd also be younger, you know.
Yeah,
probably go back. I don't know if you'd be in his training Qui-Gon era, or maybe, I don't know. He's got a couple eras that are, you know, canonized, where he's the up and comer, and then he's the best Jedi Master there is, with Qui-Gon as his apprentice, and then he has this little time in between his leaving where he's still the best there is, and he knows it, and he's a dick about it, and you know, he's also got something going on the side. So it depends on when you're doing it. Benedict Cumberbatch sounds pretty good.
Oh, yeah, Max Rebo, just a young. That's perfect.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah,
that would have been seal the deal.
That'd have been the one.
Yeah. I'll throw it even back at you guys. Like, what would that entail? You know, we've seen, if you had a young Dooku project, you know, what would you want to see that you haven't seen? Because we kind of got the gist of, you know, the Tales arcs over time, which we do with those. They're kind of snippets of long periods of time. If you got a young Dooku project, like, what comes to mind as what you need to see?
I think, for me personally, I would say whatever era would also give us a young Qui-Gon. Like, I think that would be a very interesting dynamic, is seeing, we saw Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan, see how Qui-Gon was trained, you know, see kind of maybe some similarities, some like lessons that Qui-Gon would have learned, things like that.
Yeah. I think this would be your vehicle to getting younger Palpatine.
Yeah, because you could have him planting some seeds,
have him groom him, and keep in mind, you know, I feel like whenever everybody else is on here, we're talking Dooku, like, it's not him losing Qui-Gon that's the only thing. It's just the nail in the coffin. Like, he's already in league with Darth Sidious by that time. So to see how that ends up, how that comes to be, would be very fascinating, as we already see it in a couple of novels, but I think that'd be your ticket to getting a younger Palpatine.
Well, yeah, and I think, like, seeing how, because like, we know that Palpatine is a badass, right? But like, seeing how he would be able to like connive and manipulate Dooku versus Anakin, who was relatively easy to manipulate, I feel like, from a someone you have to manipulate perspective. I don't think Palpatine struggled much, but I feel like Dooku would be,
I feel like
be a lot more intellectual, you know, and like, it's not emotional. It's like he'd have to really be smart and think it out.
He's like pretending to care about Anakin,
Yeah.
beyond self-interest. Whereas I think he would actually demonstrate having some things in common with Dooku. You know what I mean? Like they kind of essentially have the same. Oh yeah, I was gonna read this. I sent this to Ron and Mike, and I forgot. Like they kind of have a similar way of viewing the world and their place in it. So this is from. Oops. This is from the new edition that just came out of the Revenge of the Sith novel by Matt Stover, which I can't recommend enough. So it just kind of cuts off the rest of the page. I don't know if you can see that, but it starts with the government he would serve. This is about Dooku. Would be authority personified, human authority. It was no accident that the primary powers of the Confederacy of Independent Systems were Nemoidian, Skakuan. It just lists a bunch of aliens. I'm not going to read them all. It's like 4 lines of them. At the war's end, the aliens would be crushed, stripped of all they possessed, and their systems and their wealth would be given into the hands of the only beings who could be trusted with them, human beings. Dooku would serve an empire of man, and he would serve it only as he could, as he was born to do. He would smash the Jedi Order to create it anew, not shackled by corrupt, narcissistic, shabby little beings who called themselves powerful. And it's cut off. It just says mechanical arm hyphen Dooku's lip curled with cultivated distaste. Revolting. I presume he's talking to Palpatine. He says, then perhaps you should have spared his real arm. He says, humph. A gentleman would have learned to fight one-handed. Dooku flickered in a dismissive wave. He's no longer even entirely human. With Grievous, the use of these bio-droid devices is almost forgivable. He was such a disgusting creature already that his mechanical parts are clearly an improvement. But a blend of droid and human, appalling. The depths of bad taste. How are we to justify associating with him? And the next line is, how fortunate I am. The silk in his master's voice softened further, to have an apprentice who feels it is appropriate to lecture me. So yeah, it's some Dooku stuff. But I feel like that's the kind of thing. It's not like Palpatine saying, "Oh, hey, son, come over here." It's him being like, "Hey, Dooku, don't you hate this? Don't you hate these freaking people, slimy guys over here?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Boz said he wanted to see Yoda's training fail him.
Yeah,
which
so
I think would also be another, like super cool era to explore as well.
You could just take the time periods they did in Tales and just move them back a little bit. So like Dooku's training, early Qui-Gon training, and then early descent. That would be cool too. I don't know who this is. Let's look it up. Oops. Does anybody know other than my dad who that is?
Oh, it's the Green Goblin from the new Spider-Man movies.
As a young Dooku? I don't know. I would rather see. That would be a good. This would be a good young Palpatine, though. Can you see that?
Yeah. I'm looking at
really good. This would be a really good young Palpatine for me. He looks creepy.
Yeah, he's a little creepy.
Yeah. He's 39 years old. I would have said he was 20. And I think, it's been a good 2 hours. It's about that time.
Switching right over.
Yep. It's a big night. I just want to thank everybody for coming on. This has been really fun. I can't believe it went 2 hours and we're still just gabbing away.
Could keep going.
Yeah, good. Like I say every time, you could be doing anything you want to with your night and you chose to spend it with us. So thank you very much. And we'll be here next week. Austin, do you have anything to say?
Thanks for having me. Keep watching The Last Jedi and That's all I got.
Agreed. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a lot of news next week. Obviously, Mike has the live stream tomorrow and Saturday. We accomplished something big tonight. Didn't do this. Held ourselves together. So
Plenty of acolyte talk to cover it up, though.
yeah, we might break the chain next week, but who knows? Yeah, thank you for everybody for coming. Next week, it'll for sure be us, but I think Ron might still be out of town. Derek may be back. Mike may be back. And hopefully we'll have new cool things to discuss. If not, we'll just gab around about Star Wars.
Can always do that.
Oh yeah, I need to show you guys something real quick other than my Wolves get up. See how easy that was? It really helps the channel. Would really appreciate it. So go smash a like and appreciate it, you guys. This was Star Wars Jedi Chat. May the Force be with you.